Well, your document setup stuff isn't going to be on the video, but we can run through it really quick, just one more time. So set up a new document. Your document needs to be 7 inches by 7 inches, or based off of the blurb standards over here, depending on the kind of book you're doing. I definitely recommend doing a photo book, unless you know you're going to do black and white images, and then you could do a trade book. That would be fine. All right, but if you want to do color images, you're going to want to do a photo book. It's up to you. All right, so 7 by 7, 22 pages. Start with 1. There's in your margins and your slugs all at default. That would be just fine. Then you just hit create, and you should see something similar to this. This is the window you're going to work inside of. You've got this page navigator that'll let you assign different templates. We kind of talked a little bit about that, and we'll set them up here in a second. Once you have your document set up, or before you have your document set up, you want to grab some resources. So let's open up a folder where we're going to save this stuff. Where is it? There it is. Stuff's all moved around. Okay. All right. I'm going to place it in here. InDesign, fall. We'll actually get rid of this. I need that one. All right, so I'm going to put it in here. I'm going to put all my resources in here. So I'm going to make a folder called images. We'll also make one called text, just so we have that. But you're not going to link to your text. It's just a way to organize it. All right, so we'll do that. And then let's grab our stuff. Gutenberg. What's this one? It's German. Oh, this is the Ring Trilogy, I believe. No? I have no idea what the book this is. Anybody speak German? What does that say? Natural history? It's different than Dutch. The beginnings of control of nature. Okay. Nature control. Oh, I see. They're hunting. It's a walrus. I gotcha. I don't really want to do that book. Rip Van Winkle. Pennsylvania Dutch. All right, so we'll do Rip Van Winkle. Or Pennsylvania Dutch Rip Van Winkle. I don't know. How's this different than regular Rip Van Winkle? Oh, it's a play. Ugh, we're not doing a play. Plays. So here's the thing about a play. A play is going to have lots of crazy typesetting that you would have to do. See how a lot of this stuff is indented, etc. We could do this. We could save the page, save it as text. Actually, you know what? Don't do that. Come back to here, click on this, and just download linked file. And that should give you a text file. Yep. All right, so it gives me a text file. So I'm going to put that text file in here. And we'll change the name. And Winkle. Now, what's going to happen? There's already been, a lot of typesetting done to this. That's why everything is indented and you have columns. This typesetting is not always going to come through if you copy paste it into InDesign. And if it does, it might be a mess. All right. We're going to try it, and we'll see how much of a mess it is. If it's a giant mess, I'm going to recommend you don't do plays, just because you're going to spend all of your time screwing around with that little editing. Okay, so let's grab type tool. Drag text box. There is a different way to do this. No, I don't remember. I told you I don't use this very much. If you copy paste it into there, you can see that when we zoom out, it just gives us this sort of like placeholder. Gives us a placeholder of kind of what the text looks like. As you get closer, it'll actually resolve itself to the text. Obviously, not all that text fits into this box, which is why we have this little square with the plus in here. It just means there's more text. It's just like Illustrator. Okay, it means that there's more text that's being hidden. Let's make it fit our bounds here, our margin bounds. So here's kind of what you can do. You're going to drag another text box. This one's empty, but you can click. Is it option click? Oh crap. No, I forgot. The what? No, you're supposed to be able to click and drag from that little red box to, dang it. You're supposed to be able to click and drag a line. I can't remember if it's option or control. It's not option apparently. Yeah. Anybody remember how to do that? Is that what you're talking about, Mackenzie?
It's like window.
Yeah, but you start, yeah, see, this is why I never use this program. Okay, well, let's ask Google. Hold on. Link text boxes. Drag the cursor across the documents to create the first text box. Yep. Repeat the below second. Type tool still selected. Click on one of the text frames and type in some words. All right. Yep. Wait, what? First one that you'll notice, since it's already text in the box, the contents of the box, maybe the first one. I feel like I missed something. I totally missed something. See little squares at the four corners halfway along each side. Clicking and dragging these will resize the frame, but also a yellow square near the top right of the frame and another slightly larger box near the bottom right. Click the one at the bottom right and the cursor will change to an arrow with a few lines of text in it. Yeah. Bottom right. That's what I was trying to do. There we go. Okay, so apparently you just click it. Thanks, Mackenzie. So make another text box, fill your margin, and then go back to your normal selection arrow, which is just V. So you have to hit escape first, because with the text tool selected, if you just keep hitting V, you're just going to keep adding V, the letter V in there. Okay. So get back to your selection tool, click on that little box until it changes like that, and then click in the box you want to link it to. What this is doing is it's starting to show all of the text that's in this box that was being hidden by the frame is now showing up in this box and being pushed over to this box, etc., etc. Does that make sense? So you just would keep making text boxes to fill and link to. Okay? Yeah? All right. It looks like some of the, yeah, see, it's getting a little messed up. So what I would recommend doing is at least not doing a play. You can strip a lot of this formatting out. Normally you can do this by, actually just putting it in here would have done it, should have done it. Just cut it, okay, copy it. I don't think that stripped it. Nope. Nope, never mind. You spelled just strip it. All of it. I wonder if stick it in a code editor and you can probably strip it. No, never mind. Okay, don't save. I think you can mess with it if you want to, or you can get something that isn't going to have as much formatting. Maybe just grab a straight up book. It's this one. let's go categories. Actually, let's just do Sherlock Holmes. So there's a good default. Adventures of Sherlock Holmes, plain text file. Sorry, right click on it, download linked file. Okay. That should be, yep, okay, Adventure of Sherlock Holmes. So you're going to have a little bit of formatting to do. You can get rid of a lot of this stuff. If you wanted, you could leave some of it in here, actually. But with this text selected, and actually I'll make a few more text boxes here. Okay, so with a few of these, you'll notice that with our type tool, it switches over, the option bar switches to be type-specific options or characteristics. When you don't have a text box selected, everything will be grayed out, of course. When you do have a text box selected, it's going to show you what type you have chosen. All of these options are the same as they would be across any other Adobe program. You're just going to see more of them. You have two different states, essentially, that you can toggle between for the option bar. You have the type or the character formatting options, and then you have the paragraph formatting options. So if you have a whole section of something selected, you can format it as a paragraph. All right. So like, oops, I just selected all the text. There's some templates that you can do up here. My machine decides it wants to let us do it. There we go. You can set up different styles and create new ones. So if you set up a style that you want to use, you could indent, move them around. Really just play around with it and get a sense of how it's going to work. There's no wrong way to do this project other than to just not do the project. I don't want to move the whole thing. What was I looking at? There we go. So line height is always something you can mess with to move things together. If you want to leave some of this early stuff in here from the Project Gutenberg, all this Project Gutenberg information, you do have a lot of like spacing stuff that you can pull out. It is going to affect everything that comes before it, so you just need to think about how that stuff is being moved around. Okay, it's going to be especially weird on this early stuff. When you get to the actual story text, you'll have less to do. Let's see if we can get to some of it here. Oops. Is it really just going to make a box that I don't have to mess with? It is. All right, so you don't have to draw a box. There we go. All right, so when you finally get to the story, there's going to be a lot less to do other than maybe like line height and aligning it a little bit. There are some arbitrary line breaks in here. Like what I mean by line break is it going down to the next line. So looking at it, there's obviously a ton of space I can still fill right here, right? But there's an invisible character in here called the line break. You can, I don't know if you can turn it on in InDesign actually. You should be able to. View, screen mode. Yep. Show. Break. Discretionary line break. Nope. C line breaks. Sometimes it's easier to be able to see where the line breaks are. Here. Design. No, okay. So you can use the Command F apparently. So find, but how would you find a line break? Just hit enter. Oh, here we go. Forced line break. Find a forced line break. That's the character symbol for line break. See if it. Let's see if it actually finds them. Cannot find match. All right. Yeah. So we need a good way to strip all of the formatting out because I think it's going to cause you guys a lot of issues. So I just dumped. Is this, I think this is Sherlock. Yeah, I just dumped Sherlock in here. So the thing that we're looking for to get rid of here, let me close all this, is see this character right here, that little like notch, right? That's the line break character. All right, that tells any text interpreter, right, any word processor, to go to the next line. You know, that the line is over with. And we kind of want to get rid of that. We want all of this to be on one line so that we can have the most control, right, over the text. We can do that. I'm trying to think of like an easy way to strip formatting text. There, this is what we want. Stuff like this. Special paste and match style command. Oh, command option shift V. That's why it didn't work. Okay. Okay, so let's try this. Let's copy that. So select all, Command C, delete it. Command option shift V. Nope, I still have formatting. All right, Command K. So Command K, that didn't work. Edit, paste, and match style. Oh. Also, is the benefit of stripping format from copy text. Command Shift T. Oh, here we go. Command Shift T. Oh, it is. That's rich text formatting. That's not what I want. So strip line breaks. Oh boy, this is gonna be a pain. Okay. I mean, the really dumb way to do it is to come through and like do this, and it's terrible. There is a better way to do it. But I don't want you guys to have to use Atom to do it. I thought TextEdit used to be able to do it. I'll work on figuring it out. I want you guys to be able to start working on this. But That's annoying that Gutenberg gives you that. Okay, let's go back to InDesign. So you're going to need to play around with how your text is formatted. Most of this is just going to be formatting the text and getting it to look right. Okay, play with the font style. You do need to give yourself some line height. It doesn't need to be a ton. Sorry, my laptop doesn't like InDesign. You might be better off, like, instead of copying the whole thing in like I did, taking sections, so you know that like this stuff has specific formatting that needs to happen, this has specific formatting, this does too, contents are going to have a specific format, etc. These can all be their own text boxes. They don't need to be like the big block of text that we're doing right here. So for instance, I would like, oops, get rid of it. It's going to move all that text back up. These are all linked. You know, so all right. And what I'm going to do is actually get rid of that box. Get rid of that box so that, and then let's move this text up. Just deleting all the empty, there's just a ton of empty space right here. All right, so that's as far as I can go with that. And that's fine. So now I can start formatting some of this. I know that my line heights are a little goofy. Selecting all this text is just bogging my machine down. Are you doing anything else? Oh, besides screen recording. Anyway, yours will move a lot faster than this. Maybe a little smaller. That's a little better. That's kind of a normal line height. We still have kind of weird, the weird line endings here. But you can come back in and adjust those if you want to. Anyway, I'm going to play through text. You could come through, add the table of contents on its own. I would, because it has a lot of special formatting. Like the page numbers need to be their own column. The text needs to be its own column. So you could, like grab this. It's a list of illustrations. So let's go copy that. In InDesign, we can put our list of illustrations here. So we'll have one column, which will be the names. We still need to strip. Sorry, TextEdit is a terrible tool. Atom is a much easier tool to use for this. Sorry, I'm going to cheat a little in the interest of going fast. Okay. Now, come out, do column edits. Column selection. That's obviously not working. Okay, never mind. You can't do it in Atom either. Oh, this has been a fun day. Okay, well, anyway. Get rid of the numbers. Just keep the type. Ah, that's terrible. This is why I don't use InDesign. Still would like to be able to strip all of the text formatting out of this. It's gross. If you ever work with a copy editor and they send you copy that they've written in like Word, it's the same sort of thing. It's always going to be a pain because Word will put all these invisible characters in to format the text. And when you go to actually format the text correctly, it never looks right. It's always, you have to do a lot of stripping. So do something like that. Let's get rid of the rest of these numbers. All right, I'm going to delete this just because I just want you guys to see what you can do. All right, so you get some text eventually. It's like arbitrarily. You know, I don't know what style you're going to want to put it in. Man, that's so annoying. Okay. Okay, there we go. Trying to get all in one line. Make another text column for the numbers. There. And then you would paste your numbers in here and get them, line them up. So whatever page numbers we have for that, like frontispiece, etc. The trick is going to be, well, A, making sure that your formatting is correct, so that your font type is the same, and that you're dealing with the same font size. Over there, you know, doing all this, I mean, this is just kind of what you have to do sometimes. Man entered, you know, facing page 8, etc. So getting these to line up is going to be the trick. My line height is a little different, so I need to change it. And that should get them all to line up. Always drag a guide and double check. Just make sure that everything is... If your line height and your font size is the same and you are lining up the top of your text box, then it will all line up correctly. But then doing something like this is how you would want to set up sort of this like list of illustrations. You know, maybe a big box up here that says illustrations, but I want this to look a certain way. Baskerville actually has a couple of different types. So you've got like italic. We could do like a semi-bold italic would probably look pretty good. And then maybe not quite 48. If your text disappears like that, it just got too big for the box. So doing something similar to this. Maybe, you know, I want these to look a little different. Baskerville italic, this looks good. Sort of thin italic. Nope. So however you want these to look, like I said. Probably not bold for that. So you want to spend most of your time organizing your text to look like this. Dumping it in and cleaning it up is going to be the biggest challenge. It really is. I mean, as you can see just from the demo, it's the tedious part of it. But once you get it in there and you can break it up into the chunks that you want, which is really just kind of looking at what you're given and going from there. So like I know this needs to be a chunk, probably at the beginning here. I'll just make a box, I'll dump it in there. Make it Baskerville. Let's go semi-bold italic. Let's make it big. Let's make some of it big. If you ever have parts that you want to look different than other parts, then they need to be in their own text boxes. Get homes up there. There we go. You know, just find a place to put it, and then let's see what else we've got. By maybe smaller. And notice that is super big. Let's make it small. Actually, maybe delete some of it. Right. So you just play around, like I said, and organize your text the way you want to. It's gonna be a lot of just sort of like clicking and being like, oh yeah, okay, this needs to be a little bit bigger. Maybe instead of copying this whole chunk out, you are just grabbing like, oh, this part, then maybe this part, etc. Like this could all be a little bit on its own. Say regular, much smaller. And just decide how you want it to look. Hyper. Oops. Space. Middle justification, like center justification like this, is only acceptable if it's title text, something along these lines. Okay. Do not do it if down to the bottom. Do not do it if it is text, like body text that is meant to be read. Okay. The reason I say that is it's very difficult to read text like this that is center justified versus left justified, and that's because of how we read in Western cultures. You know, we read left to right. So the spine, where your eye goes to get a sense of how to connect one end of a line to another, to the beginning of another line, is immediately to the left. So you always want to do left justification and with a ragged edge. Did we talk about this last week? Oh, okay, I talked about it in my web design class then. It's the same principles in web design. You know, if you're doing the same thing in web design, you do the same thing that you're doing in InDesign. You're laying out information to be read as quickly and easily as possible. When you build a web page or a website, you're doing the same thing, just on a slightly different way. When you build a book, it's very similar. Books are just very linear. They're not as non-linear as a website. You know, there's one path through a book, right? Left to right, front to back. A website is lots of interconnected little pages and stuff. But the principles of reading are the same. Very difficult to read it like this, center justified. Much easier to read it. So let's grab. No, not going to need the paragraph tool. Okay. Let's go left. Left justification. Anyway, so everything should be left justified, ragged edge. I think with sorry. There we go. With this one, I could probably get away with this book especially, I could get away with doing 2 columns, maybe even 3, but probably 2. it would be comfortable to read that way, and that might actually solve our issue of having these weird line endings, because the width would be different. And I'm sorry about my unfamiliarity with this program. I really, really don't ever use it. I'm not the person to ask about InDesign, because I just Google it. I'll be like, I don't know, InDesign, let's figure it out. Margins and columns. All right, we're going to go to 2-column. Do a gutter. The rest of it can stay the same. You just would adjust your columns. So now we have 2 columns, which just means we need to adjust that one text box. Ugh, it still gives you that dumb space right there. So you might have to come through and get rid of that. I will work on finding a good way to strip that stuff out. That's annoying to have to go through that entire book and do that. But okay, so really quickly, this kind of thing, like if you want a 2-column layout for this, then you're gonna jump out. The same sort of thing is gonna apply where we're gonna link. You can just click over here, click at the top. It's gonna fill that column with that text box. Okay. Now you'll see that it didn't add 2 columns to all the rest of the pages. It just added it to that spread. If you want to add 2 columns to the rest of the document, you need to edit the master. They all have this A master, right? They're all being applied the same sort of template. Well, to apply a 2-column change to all of the pages, double click on the A master to go, and you will go into like an isolated edit mode for just the A master. Okay. Come up here, object, where's layouts, pages, margins and columns. Adjust it here. And I can't see, where is it? Okay, you should be able to jump back to the pages. All right, I adjusted it. How come it didn't change? Save it. How do we apply it then? Nope, not what I want. Oh, it did change it. Sorry. Okay, it changed it. I just thought it would. I didn't see the change on the thumbnail view. So then adjust your box. Click and add your other one, so you can go through and do that. Okay. Now, text wrapping, like adding images in here. Like obviously the text doesn't look the way I want it to, but I'm going to grab some images. So let's find some Sherlock Holmes illustrations. Let's go to illustrations. These are all going to be, any of the old ones like this are all going to be free and available to use. You want bigger ones, of course. Usage rights, you could label for reuse. Yeah, so you'll get all the ones you need. Kind of just decide, that's a nice one. Wikimedia Commons is always a good place to find free images. So I'm going to grab this one. Drop it in there. I'll grab a couple more just to show you what we could do. These are actually all images from the illustrated book that we have, a copy of it. All right, so we should have 3 in here. Okay, good. Come to InDesign. We are going to place. I think it's just Command P or Command D. Command D. Navigate to wherever your images are, and then decide. So let's grab the first one. That'll be kind of a big image that we use. So you want to decide. Let's go. All right, we'll stick it right here. Just sort of decide where you want to put the image. Sometimes, like on these old books, the image would take up most of the page. Other times, it would be just like the top part. but you'll see that it's kind of trying to fit where I want to put it. So I'm going to have it be in this column. Obviously now it's on top of my images. By default, an image is just going to be either on top or underneath the text box. Depends on how you set it up in the layers, right? It handles layers just like Illustrator, where you have separate layers and then objects on the layers. All right. This is all text. This is an image. How we can get the text to respond to the image is by using a text wrap. All right. Giving a setting on the image that tells text how to interact with it, either to ignore it or to try to wrap itself around it in different ways. Now we have a column here. If we do a text wrap, we wouldn't technically need to do a text wrap. What we could do is just drag the box down underneath it, and this would also work, right? Because the text is just going to start here and have our image there. But say we have an image kind of in the middle of our text, and we want to wrap it around, we want to essentially give a margin and wrap all this text around it. So we select the image, you can right click on it, and it's in here somewhere. But really the best bet is up here. There's also up here in the options bar for the image. This is, again, remember this changed according to the active object you have. These are all the different things you can do. But these 4 little icons up here are your text wrap icons. There's also a window, text wrap window, that you can use. If your computer decides to let you. Come here. Alright, so right now, as you can see, there's no text wrap. There's wrap around a bounding box, wrap around an shape for an object. So if you put a mask on an object, like say you want an oval, right? You can do a clipping mask on. You can draw that oval, set it on top of the image, and apply a clipping mask just like you would in Illustrator, right? You can have it just do the top and the bottom, so it won't put text on the side, right? Or just the top. There will never ever be text underneath. It will always wrap it and stick it up on the top. Most commonly, you're going to have the bounding box. Now the bounding box for our image, why didn't that seem to apply? Oh, because it's still, all right, there we go. So you can see how it pushed everything around. Now if we click away, actually let's view in, let's preview. Nope. Let's do GPU preview. Oh, you know what, actually let's do a CPU preview. Screen mode, presentation, that's what I wanted. So if you go into presentation, which is just Shift W, this shows you kind of everything applied without any of those bounding boxes. It looks okay over here because we've got all that white space in the image, but it looks a little tight like right here, right? That's a little confusing. Remember, you always want text to have a good, healthy amount of space around it so it's easy for the eye to go to it and read it. So how we change that? With the image selected, over here in the text wrap window, we have different settings for how much space that we're going to have on the top and the bottom and the left and the right. This icon here links the values together so that you maintain a ratio if you want, right? So the values will always be the same. Or you can unlink it, so that would be linked, right? So if I change this one, it changes all of them. Okay. Unlinked lets you do arbitrary amounts. Now I'm going to do unlinked for this because you're always going off of perception. All right, what does it look like? How much space does it look like there is? Well, there's plenty of space here, plenty of space here, plenty of space here, not enough here. So really what I want to do is only adjust my right-hand margin. And that actually looks pretty good. So you can kind of see what it's doing, right? There's like the, here's the box for the image, and here's that box for the text wrap. And that's what we're looking at. All right, so it's just pushing that image away. If you ever built a web page, it's just like padding, essentially. When we start to do when we build websites, this is analogous to padding that we could add to it. It's more or less the same thing. Okay, then we can check it. Shift W. All right, that doesn't look terrible. I mean, aside from the stupid spacing issues. But that's how you can add that image. Let's add another image and get an idea of how I want this to look. A little bit more, and then I will give you guys the rest of the class to work. Which I understand is not as much time as I wanted to give you. All right, so we have our 2 columns. Let's go Command D to find another image. Maybe we'll do this one. We will also set this one in the middle. So I set it off to the side, which is annoying to deal with. Bring up your align menu. Make sure that you're aligning to the page. You can adjust it, selection, margins, spread. Spread would be both pages, right? Page is just the one we want there. Place it in the middle of the page as well as you can. Let's add our text wrap. Now we want to text wrap to the shape, not just a bounding box. So let's actually, before we do that, let's give it a shape. So let's grab our shape tools, do an ellipse, and I'm going to drag, I'm going to make like this little oval here, which I will then also align. All right, I guess, what does that look like? It's a little high up there, but it'll be okay. All right, with both of these selected, it's kind of hard to see. All right, holding Shift. I'd come to your layers and just double check that you have them both selected. Sorry, I'm looking for the clipping. Nope. Nice. Oh, you gotta be kidding me. Is it the same though? Command 7? It is not the same. Your block high, insert, anchored, fitting, content. No. Frame then. Insert break character, extra, application frame, nope. Hide frame edges, nope. Alright, none of that is what I want. I'm gonna have to look for it. Well, I'll find it, and then I'll let you guys know what it is. I doubt it's this. Yeah, so let's actually, oh, it is that. Never mind. Okay, hold on. Nope. 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 Yeah, there are. Well, that's weird that that wouldn't give me the image. Oh, it's just giving me the shape. I see. Well, all right, I'll play around with it. Yeah, so let's actually look at the requirements then. So I'm gonna save this. I'm gonna save my InDesign page. Hold on. All. Don't forget to save. Don't do a whole bunch of work and not save. I would make your document, like make it initially and then save right away, because it's been, InDesign's been known to crash. All right, I'm gonna stop recording because we can talk about